Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button below, right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every flight now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some light love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So tonight we're going to get straight into reviewing Elysium. Right, so this was one of the films I bought myself for International Celebrate Being Single Day, and I got a copy of the Blu-ray edition. So this is really good. So Matt Damon plays Max in here. Just double check. Yep, Max. And so Matt Damon plays Max in here, and then Jodie Foster plays the other main character in here, and then Jodie Foster plays the other main character who is on Elysium. Now, I have to tell you about this film, right? This film, for me, was a very hardcore watch, right? It's a certificate 15. It's not a certificate 12 or PG like I usually watch. There is quite a bit of blood in it, okay? So if you don't mind blood, you're going to be fine with it, right? So, Elysium, basically, Max... Okay, so go to the beginning of this film, and basically there's two worlds divided. There's Earth, which is polluted, contaminated, overpopulated, a bit like we're kind of experiencing some stuff like that on the planet Earth now to do with the virus, aren't we? That, you know, we're people, you know, our environment's being polluted, and with actual, you know, social distancing, shops being closed, and that we're kind of helping to save our planet with the shops being closed. Not that it's good to have the virus situation, right? But, you know, it rings a bit true when you see that that it's contaminated, it's being polluted and all this lot. So basically Earth it's set in the future, 2154 this is that end, so it's quite a way in the future. So again, it's interesting to see which, you know, if you think the world could actually go like this. So Max is down on planet Earth. Jodie Foster plays the other main character who set up a whole planet, inhabitable planet, basically, like in space, like on this spaceship. And it's not called a spaceship. I don't know what I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it grows. It's like a massive kind of like vehicle thing in space, and it's got grass. It's basically the wealthy split off from the poor. So all the poor people are meant to be on Earth. Over pollution, you know, overpolluted society, overpopulated society. Things are overworked, underpaid, a lot of hardship, and then the wealthy have decided to preserve their wealth. They wanted to go and basically make a home for themselves in space, which they have done, and they've basically got meant to have like clean air up there, although I don't really know how that works being in space, but there you go. You know what I mean? They've got no spacesuits or anything like that on there, so that is a little bit bizarre. But anyway, yeah, so they've got this really nice houses on there. They've got beautiful gardens, beautiful pool. The air's meant to be all clean up there, and so the wealthy have divided off from the poor, basically, and the wealthy people will not let any poor people on this on this space station or whatever it is. And so Max, he's worked all his life, and when he grew up with this woman, like a really good friend. You could tell they were really bonded together. So you kind of know there's going to be a little bit of a maybe romantic storyline, or maybe not. Who knows? But there's going to be something between them later on. You kind of know there's going to be something between them, and it might not be the something you think though. So anyway, basically, Max always promises this girl he's known from a kid that he's going to take them both to the place in the sky, which is Elysium. And when they, they then fast forwards to the future, and Max is working in this factory that's like producing robots, and there's quite a number of robots in the movie, right? Because it's a futuristic setting. But the problem is when the door jams on a container of robots, his boss then says he has to go in there and unjam it, and if not, he'll get someone else to replace him, so he'll lose his job, and he really needs the money, so he decides to go in, try to sort the jam out, and gets locked in this place with all these robots, and there's radiation in there. And what happens is he gets a high dose of radiation. He still survives, but basically he's got 5 days to live. After that, he will die. So it's quite hardcore, this film, because 1, there's quite a lot of blood involved. 2, there's this guy dying in it. And the ending is good and not so good. So, you know, they don't kill people off in some films, but in this film they kill quite a lot of people off in it. I'll let you know that now. So yeah, so if you like films that are a bit unconventional, that don't always keep a main character alive, that, you know, that have killings in it of characters you do like, then you'd like this film, I think. So anyway, when Max finds out he's got 5 days to live, he decides he needs to go up to this place that they've made, the wealthy people have made in space, in order to go in and lie in one of those. It's one of those, you know, like you get in a hospital in the futuristic setting where they heal you. It's like a healing unit. So basically the person goes on there and they sort their body out, their cells reconfigure and everything. Now in this film, there's one guy whose face gets blasted off, right? It's pretty gruesome. He has his face blasted off with like this grenade, I think it is. I don't know if there's grenades and guns going off, so I can't quite remember. But he's got his face blown apart, but he's still alive because his brain's alive. So if the person's brain's alive, they can still take these people they can still go to Elysium if they can get on there, because if they're not wealthy, they can't just get on this place, and then they can basically recover. They can reconstruct the face and all sorts. And in the film, they actually show you a reconstruction of this guy's face that's had his face blasted. It's like really, really strange. When you see at one part, you know, it's like, it all comes back from the explosion of a face. It's really weird. It's very cleverly done. The special effects are very good in this movie. Anyway, Max, in order to get up to Elysium, he has 5 days to live, and so he'll do whatever it takes. And so he decides to take a job. He used to be involved in crime. In the beginning of the film, he used to be involved in crime, and he's just trying to sort his life out now. And anyway, he decides to take on a job, which is a criminal activity job, in order to save his life. And the woman who he knew as a child, she pops up, and she's got a daughter who's got leukemia in it. And the only way that they can save the daughter is if she goes up to Elysium as well, which is where they have these they have these places that can recover them. So anyway, Max embarks on a 5-day journey of trying to kill bad guys, of trying to get up to Elysium, and he does it with the help of this. There's equipment basically in him. I don't think you can see it on this video cover. No, you can't really see it, but basically he's got all this. He decides to have all this stuff put in him, which is like metal stuff, and he has a thing in his brain, so they cut him up. So this is where it gets really gruesome. In part of the film, they operate on him and they splice him, and I was like going like this, like, no, I just don't want to see. I had to turn the sound down because I didn't want to hear his voice. It was horrible. I'm really squeamish. And so yeah, so he has all this metal stuff put in him, and it goes into his brain. It goes into his brain. That's a big thing, because what did I tell you? When they get to Elysium and they lie on like these beds, you know, these ones that heal you, they can do it if their brain's still alive. There's a very big point to the end of the movie, in case you didn't realise that if you've seen it before. And so, yeah, so all this equipment's wired into his brain because the bad guy he needs to go after has downloaded information to his brain, which is to do with Elysium, and has all the codes and everything that could basically give the poor people access to Elysium to make it a place for all people, you know, not just for the wealthy. And so he tries to get the bad guy, and he tries to, you know, kill the bad guy, but the bad guy he really needs alive at the same time. So he kind of doesn't need to kill, he doesn't want to kill him until he's got the stuff out of his brain, but the guy ends up being shot anyway. And so he does transfer the stuff to Max before he dies. But Max can't get it out of his head, so he has to go and get help to get it out of his head. But the problem is he has to go to Elysium as well before his time runs out. And these people, these baddies, hijack the woman that he cares for, who has a leukemia daughter, and he ends up going on a spaceship with them to try and go up into this place, this Elysium. And yeah, the ending's quite difficult to hack. You know, it's sad. It's happy and sad all at the same time. And so for me, this film was very interesting. It's very hardcore because it's a very emotional film in the sense that you don't want someone to die in it, but someone does die in the end of it, and you really kind of get into the characters. It's a lot of blood in it, and like he goes through a lot of stuff. Matt Damon's really good at acting in this, so really good at acting on this. He managed to get on Elysium, and so does the woman, and so does the girl with leukemia, but not all of them actually survive. And so it was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. It says contains strong language, bloody violence, and gory images. I didn't read that when I got it. I just got it. But I don't think there's any sex in it whatsoever. I couldn't see any sex in that. So, yeah. But there is one disgusting bit where this baddie, who's a person that actually gets his face blown off, at one point he is sleazing in the spaceship over the woman that Max liked since a child, and he is literally trying to do sexual stuff to her. So that is very difficult to take, especially being a sex repulsed asexual. He's trying to sexually harass her. He's trying to touch her up basically in front of her daughter, because they've basically kidnapped them. So that is pretty hardcore to take, So it hasn't got any visible sex in it, hasn't got nudity in it, but it has got this sexual assault stuff in a way in the plane, in the spaceship, by this gross guy here. And I was really creeped out by that. It made me feel a bit sicky and yucky. And so it's very hardcore to watch. It's a really good film. I would recommend you see it if you can hack those type of things. But, it is sci-fi as well, obviously. So, but you have to understand, there's no nudity, but the sex, implications, you kind of see him touching, like putting his, you don't see his hand where it goes, but you see his hand down there and she's like wincing. So it's just pretty disgusting like that. So yeah, but the film itself, it's a good storyline. It's very interesting how they think it could pan out with the wealthy and the poor being split like that, and to do with planet Earth destruction and robots and all that type of thing. So it's very interesting, and all this stuff that goes into the brain and so basically they're human, but they've got metal stuff in them going through their brain and stuff and downloading it to their brain. It's very interesting because some people in real life, rather than just fiction, they actually think about putting chips in their brain. But if you watch this movie, you will know that they can't heal people if the brain is dead. So if you think about that in the future and people do put chips in their brains, and then someone does something to that chip which makes it malfunction and basically blow up, then you don't have a life basically left. So I don't know if that's predicting the future or if there's any truth in that. But obviously if the brain dies, usually, the heart dies, doesn't it? But in this, the heart can still be going when the brain can still be going if the heart's dead, by the look of it. It's a very interesting movie. So yes, anyway, I would recommend, if you're not too squeamish and you can have all those things, to go and see it, because it's an interesting movie. And yeah, I've got some more movies to watch and review. So I love you and leave you for now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with anyone you think may benefit. If you know someone who likes sci-fi and doesn't mind a bit of a hardcore film for a change. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit that great big bell icon so you get notified every time I go live, like now, post a new video. Wishing you lots of love as always, and take care. I'll see you soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye.